Mr Dutton, Australians are marking down the coalition over concerns about Donald Trump's influence. You've claimed you're the best man for the job of dealing with the US president, but are you not concerned that could cost you votes?
At this election, there are two candidates running to be Prime Minister. Anthony Albanese wants to promise Australians more of the same of what they've had over the last 3 years. Higher electricity prices, higher gas prices, near impossible to get into a home, a big Australia policy, wrecking the economy, energy policy which is destroying business, or on the other hand, a coalition government that I lead. We will reduce the cost of electricity, we'll bring down the cost of gas, we'll cut petrol by 25 cents a litre, we will make home ownership a reality again by making the repayments on the first $650,000 of a mortgage for a first home buyer tax deductible. That is a game changer, and it will create more supply into the housing market. The sliding doors moment for our country is obvious, and I want to make sure that we can get our government to clean up Labor's mess as quickly as possible and to get our country back on track. Australians just can't afford 3 more years of a bad government, and that's what this election is about.
Mr Dutton, the Greens are hosting a fundraising rave on Anzac Day. Do you think this is appropriate?
I think it's completely inappropriate, and I think it reflects the poor values that the Greens stand for. And I just say to every young Australian who's proud of their grandfather who fought in the war, proud of a cousin who's serving in the Australian Defence Force now, understand that the Greens have complete contempt for our Defence Force personnel. They want to strip money from the Australian Defence Force, who keep us safe day and night. Here, whenever we travel overseas, the Australian Defence Force has a presence in most countries that our young Australians visit, and they're part of keeping young Australians safe when they're travelling overseas. The Greens, of course, would be the partners in government with Anthony Albanese, and Mr Albanese should condemn these actions, and frankly the weak leadership of the Prime Minister in a relationship with Adam Bandt would be a disaster for the economy and for our national security, and that's just demonstrated again by this reckless action of the Greens.
Just on the low and middle income offset, do you promise to stop that after one payment? And also, if I may, earlier on the Today Show you said that you speak to your children about saving. Will you help them if they're saving for a deposit and proving to be good financially responsible kids?
Yeah, well, in relation to our housing policy, I've said very clearly it shouldn't just be that the bank of mum and dad is what helps kids get into housing. Now, every parent wants to help their child, and every parent wants to see their child work hard and save toward their own deposit. So this policy's not about our families, it's about Australian families, and it's about how we can help young people get into housing. I want to make sure that those young Australians who have lost hope under Anthony Albanese realise that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that we can provide support with them not just around a deposit, but around our $5 billion plan, which will bring 500,000 new homes online. And if we do that, we can address the supply side, so we can bring more houses online for Australians. And we're not going to continue with Mr Albanese's Big Australia policy that he talked nothing about before the election. This is a government that was elected on a lie in relation to the $275. They're trying to get re-elected on a lie in relation to Medicare, even though bulk billing has come down. And we are saying to Australians there is a much better way. We can cut fuel tax by 25 cents a litre. We can get inflation down so interest rates come down. Interest rates will always be higher under a Labor Greens government. And we want to have a safer country, and we want to make sure that we can realise realise the dream of home ownership again for young Australians. And well, we've said in relation to the $1,200 of people's tax that they've paid, giving that back in a one-off, helping them deal with the cost of living realities under Labor until we can get our gas policy in place and other policies to bring pressure down on inflation and on costs across society and across the economy. So it is one-off, and that's why it's not a structural spend like Labor has put in place in relation to their 70 cents a day in 15 months' time.